will now move on to the second panel discussion, where we will discuss liberalism and faith in a plural society. Can I please invite the moderator for this session, Dr. Maszlee Malik, Senior Fellow at Ideas, along with the panelists for this session, Dr. Ahmad Farouk Musa, Executive Director of the Islamic Renaissance Front, Ustaz Abdullah Zaik, President of Ikatan Muslimin Malaysia, ISMA, Professor Zaharom Nain, University of Nottingham, Malaysia, and Dr. Patricia Martinez, Christian Federation of Malaysia. Thank you.
Okay, assalamu alaikum and very good morning to everybody. So, after listening to the first session, I think it's very interesting to know that liberalism itself is very multifaceted. It's not a monolithic thing when you say that this is liberalism or this is liberal. But it's very interesting, unlike what we used to live with in Malaysia, the word liberal itself is very dirty and has a very bad connotation. And yeah, she said yes, wait. Okay, so it's very confusing. And I think thank you very much to Prof. Maszlee to open many of the participants' eyes that you could be conservative, although you're liberal, or you could be liberal, in the meantime you're also conservative. And it comes to our topic today. So I think I need to introduce first our speakers. Besides me, Prof. Farouk Musa, a very controversial guy from Islamic Renaissance Front. I've been knowing him since the last decade. We've been together. And Ustaz Abdullah Zaik, also a controversial figure, but from different extreme. The president of ISMA, Prof. Zaharom, Nain, a media expert, I would say, and Patricia. And Dr. Patricia is very interesting. I've known this name when I was in Jordan 2 decades ago, or more than 2 decades. Yeah, we were both in Jordan. And I came across your name on Jordan Times. You wrote a few articles there. And I said, who is this Malaysian lady? Cukup. Okay. So, normally in Malaysia, when we talk about liberalism, yeah, as mentioned, that it brings negative connotation. But, more than that, when you mention the word liberal, you just could never fathom that it could be associated with religion. Being a liberal means you reject religion in total. Being liberal is, you're going to be anti-religion. Or even worse, you talk about liberalism in Malaysia, it's always been associated with LGBT. I don't know, okay, never mind. They will speak about it. So it's going to be interesting. We have speakers from different backgrounds, but the most interesting part is, I think Ustaz Abdullah will be speaking in Malay, and the rest will be speaking in English or campur-campur maybe. So everybody will share with us their thoughts, and there is a request from the audience back there that they wanted the speakers to speak at the podium, apart from you. So is it okay with you guys? Speak at the podium. But mind you, everybody will be given 7 minutes. 7 minutes, unless Prof. Zaharom is, generous enough to give some minutes to Prof. Farouk. Not me. Somebody else will ketuk the bell. Yeah. She keep warning me for that. Okay. Malaysia lah. Malaysia boleh. Tak apa. Okay.
But not more than 10 minutes.
Oh yeah. Then I will ketuk the major. No worry. Yeah, or I will throw the major to you. No, sorry. I'm just joking. Okay, how? Oh yeah, I know. Yeah. Universal Declaration of Human and Liberal Rights. No, I just learned that just now. Okay, anyway, so without further ado, I would like to leave the microphone to Dr. Farouk, please. Yeah, 7 minutes.
Yeah, all right. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Maszlee. Panelists and ladies and gentlemen, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. It's very good to be here today, and I would like to thank Ideas for inviting me. Even though I'm on medical leave until next Tuesday, but I told myself and I told Patricia that I'll be here. I don't think that I want to allow, someone to basically, to use this opportunity of me not attending and to create a story, a sensational story, right? So let's talk about this issue. And the reason why I chose orange has nothing to do with the new party, that Party Amanah Rakyat. Okay, this is just a coincidence, all right? All right. Yeah. I would like to start by saying that, by quoting a verse from the Holy Quran, وَلَقَدْ كَرَّمْنَا بَنِي Adam, and indeed we have conferred dignity upon the children of Adam. And this is a very important verse. This is from Surah Bani Israel, verse 10, children of Israel, verse 10. All right. What's the importance of this surah, basically? This surah basically says that the dignity is manifested by certain capacities, foremost among them are reason and free will. And that's the basis of what liberalism, what we're talking about. It's about freedom. It's about free will. And if there is no freedom and there is no free will, means that there's no liberalism. So that's the most important thing, that these dignifying human beings necessitates the respect and the protection of the well-being and the free choice of human being. Meaning to say that we must have the free will to choose our life. And that's the most important thing. And then let's go to political liberalism and religion. This has been discussed during the first forum, panel, And we know that, there are many variations of what is known as liberalism. They might be like, just now Jemma Khan mentioned about economic liberalism. I wouldn't venture into that. That's a forte of ideas, all right? I'll just talk about political liberalism. Political philosophers basically often they speak of two forms of liberalism. One is comprehensive liberalism, and the other one is political liberalism. And this is the main issue for much of the disagreement and controversies, especially with regard to ISMA and IRF. Now, what is comprehensive liberalism? It is basically a way of life, a theory of value and epistemology. It's basically a rational values rational autonomy, critical scrutiny of tradition, skepticism, and segmentation, and is often associated with the worldview of John Stuart Mill, Immanuel Kant, and Voltaire. All right? Now, what is political liberalism? By contrast, it's purely a doctrine of social and political cooperation. It seeks to elaborate the most reasonable public conception of justice and citizenship for free and equal persons, given the existence of disagreement of the ultimate meaning of life and the epistemological foundation for discovering it. Why is this important? It's important because we're living in a diverse society. We're living in a diverse world. We cannot have a homogeneous idea about how to live our life, how to lead our life. So there must be a kind of political liberalism in this aspect. Political liberalism defends these terms of citizenship not as true but most reasonable given the fact of moral pluralism, and importantly, insists that these terms need not contradict the aims of most ways of life, particularly religious ones. And this doctrine of social cooperation is most explicitly associated with the work of John Rawls and that of John Locke. And IRF, we had many reading sessions basically to discuss about this Rawlsian epistemology and ideas, and also the ideas of John Locke itself. I'll talk about John Locke later on after this. So this political liberalism is basically a doctrine of social and political cooperation, but keeping religion separate from politics is very important for us to understand this. It keeps religion separate from politics, promoting democracy and multi-party politics, providing religious and cultural tolerance, preserving women's rights, freedom of thought and expression, internalizing human rights, and enhancing political participation. This is very, very important for us to understand what it means by political liberalism. And it values the right of individual freedom from being coerced to live a certain way based on a certain conception of good, as well as social solidarity based on mutual recognition and a fair distribution of resources. Yeah, it speaks of societies that accommodate diversity, religious freedom, pluralism, multiculturalism, culturalism, fairness, and tolerance. But the broad agreement with political liberalism is unmistakable. It is the state. The state does not come down on one side or the other of metaphysical questions, meaning to say that the state remains neutral. All right? The state will not sway to the right or to the left. And to say, to give an answer to metaphysical questions such as which relation best conveys its instructions or which is the best way to live. That is up to us to decide. It is not up to the state to decide on what is the best way to lead our life. Now, possible points of conflict between political liberalism and Islamic doctrine. Of course, there are possible conflicts, right? First is the demand of justice, and second will be the demand of citizenship. I'll be fast because I think time is running out. It's basically, this demand of justice is basically that each individual will have, each citizen will have an equal rights and enjoy this freedom, equal freedom and equal rights. And of course, that we know that because of this, there might be some contradiction with some conventional or some orthodox Islamic interpretation. All right. That is why at one time, I issued a statement that a just non-Muslim leader is better than an unjust Muslim leader. And it created a vicious response from ISMA, for example, right? Because to me, right, and to many of other rationalists, we believe that the idea of justice can be known by reason. Reason is adequate enough to know what is just and what is unjust. It doesn't require revelations. It doesn't require text to tell you what is just and what is unjust. And this is the point of contention among us and with the other conservatives. Now, second is the demand of, demands of citizenship. Okay, demands of citizenship relate to the idea of membership, belonging and loyalty to a particular political community. And of course, we know that in Islamic texts, if you look into Islamic, medieval Islamic texts, they talk about zimmi, right? They talk about second-class citizens. They talk about, non-Muslims not enjoying similar rights as Muslims. And if you look at some of the certain of kitab or books written by medieval scholars, such as Al-Ahkam al-Sultaniyah, Al-Ahkam al-Sultaniyah, they quoted that non-Muslims, they have to pay jizya, right? These zimmis, they have to pay jizya, a form of tax, a taxation different from the current taxation that we're having. And the way that they have to pay jizya is that they have to walk on their foot, right? They cannot even ride a horse or a camel to go and pay the jizya. They have to walk on their foot, not only walking on their foot, but they also have to bow down. Their head have to be down, walking on their foot and pay the jizya. Don't you think that that's derogatory in our 21st century civilization? And this is a concept of citizenship. That is why modern scholars like Tariq Ramadan and a few others, even, I will not quote Qardawi, but Tariq Ramadan, for example, he talked about al-muwatana, about citizenship, rather than zimmi, right? Zimmitude is basically a concept which is a medieval concept. All right. I think I have to skip many of this. Okay, what? Okay, I think I'll just skip this. I'll go to this important thing, which is one of the most contentious issues. Does liberalism lead to agnosticism or atheism? Because this is the main issue that is being said to us, right? Because when we promote liberalism, when we say that liberalism is a way of life in the 21st century, then people will say that basically you are dragging people to become agnostics, or you are basically dragging people to become atheists. Now we are saying that that is not the case. It is wrong to understand that believing in liberalism will lead someone to become an atheist or to become an agnostic. Like, I would like to quote this very important scholar, Nader Hashimi. He was a guest of IRF last year. In his book, Islam, Secularism, and Liberal Democracy, he proposed a road less traveled. That was basically from a poem by, I think many of you have read this poem before. And he said that what is important is not the idea of Luther or Voltaire, but that of John Locke. I think Dr. Ong mentioned in the first panel just now. He offered the interpretation by arguing for compatibility of reason and revelation. And this idea of the compatibility between reason and revelation is basically not, even he spoke during the 17th century, but it was being reiterated by a modern Islamic scholar, that is Muhammad Abduh. Muhammad Abduh says that there should not be any contradiction between reason and revelation. There must be a reconciliation between reason and revelation. And because of that, you cannot see anywhere in the text that's going to contradict our reason. That's a very important fact. Finishing? Yeah, okay. All right. Okay, this is second last, okay? And Tariq Ramadan says that the human being is free and has the choice. He should know what is forbidden by God and what is bad for him, since it is prescription bestowed from his Lord, who knows better. Meaning to say that Tariq Ramadan emphasizes the fact that man must be given free will to choose. Okay, last one, conclusion, and very important, all right? This conclusion says that what is obvious is that in no uncertain terms, real liberalism is irreligious. It's only against the authoritarian phase of religion. What we are facing now is that we are facing this authoritarian phase of religion and of religious people who believe that they have the right to dictate who are Muslims and who are non-Muslims. They have the right to dictate that this is the true way of Islam and this is not the true way, or this is basically a diluted understanding of what Islam is all about. And this is why liberalism is important. And for particular, liberalism means mutual recognition, restraint, and the respect for individual freedom. Thank you very much.